Hello, and welcome back to Witch on the Holy Night. My name is Baby Dennis, and last time, we started off the episode with Sojiro being freaking cut in half by Toko. And oh my god, I was so sad because I really like Sojiro. But that really ticked Aoko off, and she decided to use the magic that she, rather die than use. But she activated the 5th magic, Blue, and then a whole bunch of stuff happened. It seemed like a lot of seasons went by real quickly in like 10 seconds. And suddenly she emerged as a older red-haired Aoko, who has like a lot of magic power or something. I'm not really quite so sure, but you can see on the screen, she's different. And then afterwards, it seems like she chased Toko to the school building, and outside, Sojiro and Alice had a really nice chat about like what has just happened and what the magic actually did. But now, Sojiro's chasing after Aoko to probably stop her from killing Toko. I'm not 100% sure, but that's where we are right now. We're in the school building. A storm of magic bullets struck down a hail of lightning blades. A mage's workshop was their home base and last line of defense. It featured an abundance of defensive spells designed to cut down brazen challengers and thieves. The old school building was no exception, painstakingly rigged by the puppet master and rune mage Toko Aozaki. A reflection of her bizarre obsessions, the workshop was set to indiscriminately destroy any intruders. Stop it! Oh, one thing I do want to mention while we're in the beginning of it, but I'm not exactly sure how much longer we have left, but I'm just going to try to do my best to play until the end of the game, or end of the base story. I know there's probably going to be more side story stuff, like post-game, but I'm going to try to play until the end of the story. And if that ends up being 2 episodes, then that it shall be. Toko complained as she ran down the hallway, activating her traps along the way. But nothing seemed to work. Oh my god. None of the runes, regardless of their quality or quantity, could slow her sister down. Her reaction speed and ability to predict attacks could only be described as transcendent. Even magic bullets she fired from both her arms were too much, destroying the runes and the very walls that housed them. She also has the ability to do some timey-wimey stuff, which is how she brought, Shizuki back. Somehow. I just still don't understand the explanation. More traps. As she spat out her words, the ceiling opened, increasing the pressure from the ruins. Invisible walls popped up in the hallway. Aoko stopped and swung her right leg upwards. Oh my god. Straight towards the ceiling. Her foot cut through the thick air like a knife through butter, shattering the ceiling and the ruins along with it. It's like, man, this school building is the last bastion, but what if I just destroy it? True. Space Fortress, where did that come from? Even though you're the one destroying it now. The wooden boards along the hallway that had withstood decades of wind and snow were now destroyed. Aoko charged forward. The chaos was inevitable. While Toko's runes cursed living creatures, Aoko's magic bullets destroyed all without prejudice. Toko would do anything to change her blood, but there are more pressing matters at hand. The girl rushing her now was not the sister that she remembered, but rather a more complete version of her. Toko couldn't afford to let her guard down for a second. But localized time travel. Oh, so localized time travel. Toko didn't believe that was true nature of Aozaki's magic. Oh, so it wasn't. Aoko's transformation had to be a mere byproduct of true magic. She couldn't make heads or tails out of its depth, even with Aoko having achieved it. At the very least, it was not so simple a miracle. So, the time travel was not like the main function, it's just something that happened because she used the magic. But she's able to control it because she was able to very specifically rewind Sojiro's time by 5 minutes and accelerate hers by 10 years. Huh. After all, the concept of time travel was already made possible through the second magic. Record manipulation, revision of possibilities, and so forth involved the operation of parallel worlds. So there was no way that could be the fifth magic.
となると、次に出てくる疑問はこれか。青子、貴様、その10年分の時間をどこから持ってきた?
Snatched it from the boy toy. There are so many runes. Whoa, is she just fast or is she... From that moron outside? Got a problem? Is she like actually just dodging really quickly? Or is it like some like dimension hopping bullshit? I'm just borrowing it. That made sense. There's a bias, but the amount of time on this axis had not been changed. But...
では、あの5分間はどうする? まさか私を始末した後、彼を元の状態に戻すのか?
Aoko stopped in her tracks. Toko took aim at Aoko's glaring oversight. So she's borrowing time, but she can like return it. That means she has to return the 5 minutes to Sojiro. That way, there won't be a time displacement, which would make things really weird, I think, because the time has to go somewhere. I guess. Aozaki magic and Aoko's humanity were inconsistent.
そうだ。時間操作では死者の蘇生は許されない。お前がしたことは一時だけの気休めか。
So is she saying Sojiro is destined to die because he's already been killed and it can't be reversed? The magic crest on Toko's back began to demonstrate their true worth. Drawing upon the magical energy stored in the crest, she materialized her largest trap yet in the hallway. Three rune stones appeared. They kind of look like lenses. Their scale and level of magical energy were wildly different from the other runes. Created by Toko herself at the Mages Association. They were replicas of one of the lost primordial runes created by a Nordic giant. The three thin crystalline lenses amplified her carved runes tens of millions of times. Yeah, it is a lens and it's amplifying her stuff. They rendered projectiles like magic bullets ineffective. Or the opposite, they made it so that things are significantly weaker. Even if Aoko's magical output far exceeded Toko's, these giant slabs were several times more powerful still. Aoko's signature magecraft could only release magical energy, so she had no way to defend herself or evade the attack. Actually, no, I have no idea. I guess it is an attack thing. Okay, yeah, it's firing its own beam. Millions of times. Oh, wow, look at that. A fixed subjective access. Look at this. That's so cool. Pushing herself on, Aoko took a deep breath of resolve. Instead of defending or dodging, she went low and charged into the rune storm. She's just brute forcing it? No, wait, she said something with the access. She's shifting dimensions? I guess so. Like she's not in the she's in the ethereal plane. Infuriated by the realization, Toko set her magic crest to full power. Through repeated second-long bursts of time travel, Aoko was able to avoid the runes completely. She was either sending the attack's impact to a different time, or layering several thousands of herself atop one another. Whatever. No way she could keep up with that kind of magical energy output. Aho kicked the... Of course she would do that. She just kicked the crystal slab to pieces. Two remained. Distance 30 feet. Toko had 10 seconds of magical energy left, but that was all she needed. Aoko, on the other hand, would stop now if she had any common sense as a mage. She couldn't continue breaking the rules for that much longer. Then again, time travel itself was breaking the rules.
Aoko!
Once again, Aoko used the same technique. Toko's suspicion turned into white-hot hatred. She couldn't care less about her time travel formula. It was the amount of magical energy she had. Where was she pulling all the energy necessary to jump through time for so long? It was the death of Sojiro Shizuki. If she had brought him back 5 minutes to when he was alive, where would those 5 minutes go? Aoko's magic wasn't using parallel worlds to change this one. She had only rewound Sojiro's 5 minutes. Then logically, he'd return to being a corpse as soon as the magic ended. Time travel that didn't change the world couldn't change the past. Therefore, if she wanted to save him, she had to either truly resurrect him, or send those 5 minutes of reality somewhere far away without returning them. So did she send them? She can't send them to the past. That would mean that he's already dead. I'm assuming by far away they're not referring to distance with time. So that means she sent them to the future? Just made it so he died later on? I guess. Does that mean he can't die until he dies? Aoko showed no sign of slowing. From behind her crystal barrier, Toko glared at Aoko with disdain. Just tossed it somewhere in the future. I guess the heat is supposed to be the byproduct of shifting the time. So because she threw it to the future, the timeline shifted like forward 5 minutes. And I guess that would create heat for some reason. I don't know. It's moving things at a large scale, so maybe that would, even though it's not like physical. "15 feet to go." Faced with such madness, Toko wanted to cover her eyes. She put the depth of the present into the distant future? A time paradox would have been more humane. Such an enormous haphazard consumption of heat could not be allowed. After all, time travel alone required a massive amount of energy. Oh, that's what she's talking about. Because time travel... I guess based on the second magic, which we don't really have information on, other than the fact that it contains time travel, I guess second magic uses a lot of energy, so she's using the idea of time travel requiring a massive amount of energy to equate to throwing 5 minutes into the future, which is a form of time travel in a way and would be, you know, extremely energy consuming. Magical energy was required to bring things from somewhere else. At the same time, losing something that existed here consumed an incredible amount of energy. And what about the magical energy used for cooling? If either fell out of equilibrium, it would mean total chaos. The distortion caused by her magic would come to affect this entire sector of space. Well, it's your fault! Shouldn't have killed him!
人類の行く末に待つデッドエンドにさらなる負債を押し付ける気か。この星の頭上に隕石を作っているようなものだぞ。というか、お前の重みでこの星を押し潰す気か。
Are you calling me fat? That last comment made Aoko's eyes widen. Her every step exerted such force it broke the floorboards beneath her feet.
その時はその時で、今度は負債を過去に送ってやるわよ。そんな文句ないんでしょ。
I'll do more time travel.
歪みに潰されるのは過去だけなんだから。それで解決したつもりか。現在が確定している以上、過去を消滅させてもいいと。それでいいのは私たちだけだ。問題の総量、宇宙の負債はどうする？
Exactly. Even if the universe were closed, or the present was still expanding, the absurd increase in heat consumption would be uncontrollable. That which waits for the end of infinite expansion, infinite consumption, and infinite growth is a future without hope. The nothingness before creation. Eventually, the universe would burn up.
青崎の魔法はその結末をより確かなものにするだけだ。その責任をお前は
言われなくても分かってる。責任なんて私が生きてる間に何とかするわよ。
5 feet to go. The rune blast, now carrying all of Toko's hatred, focused into scorching a hot laser beam. Her body being torn by the intense heat and her emotions raging, Aoko drove her foot into the ground. Going straight into it.
責任を取ると言ったな。では、その具体案は
No idea.
そんなのこれから考えるに決まってるでしょ。
お前は最悪だ。
She's like, God damn it, no, you astronomically effed up. I tried to kill one person, but you're gonna destroy the entire universe. Oh wow, look at this. That's so cool. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but that's so cool. Oh, she kicked the lens, that's what happened. Toko's last defense was shattered. Close enough to connect, the two mages unleashed their magecraft. Red runes, blue ether. In a cascade of magic bullets, Toko Aozaki's crests were torn to pieces, and so was Toko herself. Okay, so I guess Sojiro didn't get there. I thought Sojiro was gonna interrupt. It was just as Alice said. By the time Sojiro arrived, it was already over. I'm surprised a building could contain all that magic. The old school building's wooden boards had survived the elements for decades, but they were not ready for a mage duel. The entrance door hung off its hinges. The floorboards groaned. The stairs were ready to collapse underfoot. Toko's escape and Aoko's pursuit had left a trail of destruction leading all the way to the second floor. The chaos continued to the end of the hallway, by the stairs to the third floor. Toko sat in a heap with her back against the wall. Despite her injuries, she kept her eyes firmly on Aoko. She was bleeding internally and had multiple broken bones. She would not be moving anytime soon. Well, she'd be lucky if that's all she got away with. Possibly damaged by Aoko's flying kick, her mystic eyes had ruptured from within, closing them indefinitely. Despite her battered and broken body, she was still breathing steadily, a testament to her stubbornness. Before her stood Aoko, staring down at her, uninjured. Oh man, she really tanked everything.
屋上までは持つと思っていたんだが。
Toko was not trying to be facetious. She sounded genuinely disappointed. Aoko responded with a cold glare. Her azure eyes had not changed one bit. They were callous as ever, yet undeniably beautiful. From where she stood, Aoko held her hand out towards Toko. Like a hunter about to put a wounded prey out of its misery. The victor was decided. The mage came to steal land and got a death sentence for her troubles. The silence was disquieting. Moonlight peered through the demolished ceiling, illuminating the two sisters with its stare. The utterly mad sibling squabble was over. Finally! Now the fireworks were finished, and the cold wind had returned to claim the old school building.
何か言い残すことはある?
Aoko's voice cut through the silence. Toko thought for a moment, before lightly patting her coat pocket. Nothing. She frowned.
最後に一服と思ったが、あいにくお前を待っている間に吸い切ってしまってね。日本のタバコはうますぎていけない。
Smoking's bad for you. Aoko gave a small nod.
なかなか常人には真似できない遺言だったわ。
待て待て、いくら私でも遺言まで謎かけをする気はないよ。お望み通り敗者は敗者らしく当倍をあげるから聞くといい。
Toko's voice was laden with sarcasm, but not the hostility or hatred. Perhaps her vendetta was not directed at Aoko herself, but rather a product of two sisters born into a mage family.
青崎の魔法が時間旅行に端を発するものとは思わなかった。まだ事情がありそうだが、当事者ではない私には何ともね。ボンプにはわからない悩みだ。せいぜい大事に付き合っていけばいいさ。しかし10年経ってもそれでは先が思いやられる。アリスは何をしていたんだか。
Take you 10 years to figure it out, and doesn't give him confidence. I expect more of Alice.
アリスにしてはよく付き合ってくれた方よ。魔術師としてはいつまでも半人前っていうのが彼女の結論。
I wonder how those 10 years work. Does she actually live like another 10 years? So she literally has another 10 years of experience? Like, I guess with Alice too? Or like, I'm not exactly sure.
けどまあ、そうね。あの狼とならいい勝負をしたんじゃない？
True, that's why she brought her. That's why she brought Beowulf. Until he got two-shotted to death. And come back, but you know, whatever.
あれはダメだ。敗北を知ってしまった。もう完全じゃない。半人前に値で勝っていようが、魔法の前には得意性を見失うだろう。
At the very least, he would never be able to kill you anymore because he's afraid of what would happen to him if he did.
ところで、青子、お前の魔法とやらは手段か、それとも結果か。
Toko wants to know if it came before or it came after. Did Aoko need magic to get her to where she needed to go? Or did she obtain magic as a result of reaching that place?
あとよ。私は扉の前で尻尾を巻いたから、ジジイの思惑なんて知らないけど。
I'm gonna look at that again. So, did she need magic to get her to where she needed to go? Or did she obtain magic as a result of reaching that place? And she said that she turned tail when she got to the door, so she never found out what the old... I don't get this. Who's the old man? Is it her grandma, or is it like the little cloaked ghost thing?
第一魔法と同じ経緯か。ますます業が深い。第2から第4はその場所へ到達するために生み出されたものと聞く。
This magic stuff is so confusing. Oh my god.
同族嫌悪は世の常だ。いずれ第一と食い合わなければいいのだがね。
Oh no, the battle of true magics. That would be terrifying.
しかし、扉ときたか。魔法の継承とはパスの継承のようだな。ではやはりここにユミルの入り口があると。
北欧かぶれのあなたにとってはね。私にとっては赤社の門と言えるものよ。最初からそれを狙っていたんでしょ、あなたは。
So many terms. Toko used every ounce of strength that she could find to nod.
望めば手に入るというのに何台も待つのは嫌だったんだ。ソフトはそれで決別したようなものだったよ。
You heard some glass shatter, so that probably means Sojiro entered the building.
青崎に対する復讐心はそれには優先されなかった。まあ、全ては終わったことだ。もう語る必要はない。最後に根源に触れた感想が聞きたいな。
Oh right, magic was a way of reaching the root. I completely forgot about that. Toko spoke after taking a deep breath. Her last words showed no trace of hatred. Aoko remained silent as she began raising her right hand up high. She recalled her grandfather's orders. The source of true magic. Revealing one's knowledge or impression of the root was strictly forbidden. But this was her sister's dying wish. Maybe it would be okay. The conversation would end the moment she brought her arm down. Then, this rotting shell of a building would become her sibling's tomb. What harm could it do? It's not like she planned to follow her grandfather's rules anyways.
白状するとね、姉さん。
Oh, the music's going away. Ako's voice carried through the blue hallway.
正直、全然わからなかったわ。
I wonder if that's the truth, or if she's just doing that to spite her sister. Ako gave a blunt reply and brought her arm down like a bolt of lightning. Or at least, she tried to. Sojiro grabbed it. I knew it. Her arm wouldn't listen to her. It wouldn't budge.
何のつもり？
Cursing Alice, Ako spat her question out with venom. Sojiro materialized from behind, taking hold of her raised arm. Though unable to express it, Toko was shocked to see him too.
で、話して。
Oh, look at this. Man, they really did a good job of making her hair change like magical because it's always glowing. It's literally emanating light and you can see it off of everything, especially like her arm and Sojiro's arm. Without looking at him or even at her restrained hand, Ako spoke sternly, her eyes forward. Come to think of it, at the amusement park, he appeared out of nowhere to protect her from that puppet.
聞こえなかった。二度はないわよ。
She was not bluffing. If he interfered, even he would be given no mercy. I decided to let you live. It would go against that promise, but he should know better. Even so, he maintained his grip on her arm.
いい加減に。
As Ako turned around, the word told caught in her throat. She immediately regretted looking at him. She saw herself in his expression. Mournful sadness, judgmental anger. His conflicting emotions spoke to her of her own internal struggle. Voicelessly, quietly, without violation. Rustic, gray eyes questioning a deep sin.
言いたいことがあるならはっきり口にしなさい。それができないなら消えて。
Murder's bad. Sojiro gently released Aoko's arm as she maintained her resolve. They locked eyes, neither friend nor foe. Their bitterness clashed without words. And then suddenly, oh, happy music.
人殺しはいけないことだ。
I freaking knew it. Sojiro stated in that matter-of-fact way with which Aoko had become all too familiar. His words were empty, trite even. And yet, given her current state, they reached her. Although she would soon forget the fragments of Sojiro's memories, they made her painfully aware of how he felt. Still, she could not agree with him. It would come back to bite her. If she let Toko go now, her sister would come for her again. She had already made 2 attempts on her life. Ako did not have it in her to forgive her sister for what she had done. Above all, just as Toko said, if Ako did not change, she would be a novice forever. She had not even won her first mage battle yet. Like, give me this W. And she knew putting down a blood relative would require even more conviction. Nevertheless, his words echoed over and over in her heart. Murder is wrong. Such a childish phrase, but the earnestness with which he had said it, it was enough to make her sick. Resisting, Ago glowered at Sojiro.
だから殺されたくせにその相手までかばうっていうのあんたは。
That is technically
元
true.
気になったら懲りずにやってくる殺人鬼が相手でも見逃してやれっていうの。
I'm gonna tell her that murder is wrong too.
まさかそこまで言ったら聖者だ。自分にはそこまでのことは言えない。
But he would probably still let her go. He did not think that Toko would change. He also did not care to rationalize her actions based on her life. He was simply thankful that this person before him was still alive. You seem pretty dang saintly to me. That was what had made Aoko so angry. His overwhelming innocence and self-righteousness enraged her, like the Hall of Mirrors was happening all over again. The only difference was that now she knew why he was acting like this. It was because she had taken a part of him. So by taking 10 years of his childhood, she saw what made him the person that he is today, and that's why she understands him a lot more now. But it's kind of hidden from us because we don't know what he's experienced. He took a step forward, passing by her, saying words he knew he should not.
仕返しなら殺された人間がやるのが筋だろ。
Technically true.
君を止められないのは分かってる。だから青崎がやるぐらいなら俺がやる。
It was difficult to discern who was the more pathetic in all of this. Toko, who had been staring at them the whole time, closed her other eye as if drifting off to sleep.
ごめんなさい、トコさん。
Knowing her fate, Toko dropped her head as best as she could as he walked towards her.
そうだな。君にはそれもいいかもしれない。
He's not gonna do it. He's too much of a good boy.
今は特殊な状況だから、冷めた後に君がどれほど悔やむことになるか想像もできない。ただ、それで君の停滞は終わるだろう。晴れてみそぎ落としというわけだ。純粋に祝福してあげられる。気に食わないのは、それを決意させたのが私ではなかったということぐらいか。
She knew that Sojiro could not understand. Her words hanging in the air, she closed her lips tightly, then weakly stuck out her slender neck. Sojiro took another step forward. Before he could do anything, Aoko moved. Spinning in front of Sojiro, she cut off her magical energy and swung her hand as hard as she could. The sound of her slapping his face echoed through the hall, along with his staggering steps.
青崎。
They're gonna tell each other that murder is bad. Tears of anger welling in her eyes, Aoko turned her back to Sojiro, sulking as though she would kill him as soon as she looked at him again.
他人の記憶を取り込んだ代償か。引きずられたな、青子。
Yeah.
そうよ。自分の意志を人に曲げられるのがこんなに悔しいなんて知らなかった。
That was all Aoko could mutter in response. The corners of Toko's lips curled into a grin.
何がおかしいのよ、あなた。
いや、お前にも人並みの情けがあるとは思っていなくてね。バカ呼ばわりは訂正しておくよ。他人の理想を背負うのに怯えるなんて、10年経っても可愛いじゃないか。
Yeah, bitch, I'm adorable.
あんたね。
そう睨むな。今のは心からの賛辞だ。で、私をどうする？彼に殺させるか、それとも見逃すか。
仕方ないでしょ。あなたの言う通り、これが何よりの代償だったんだから。
Aoko said begrudgingly, shooting Sojiro a sideways glance. He seemed to have recovered from the slap, and his usual absent-minded look had returned. He may have had no memories of his past, but his morals and values were too deep to be erased. Sojiro was trying to violate those. It would eat away at him forever. And he would be doing it not for himself, but for Aoko. Aoko understood this all too well now. The moment he said that he would do it was a moment he lost. It was when he gave up his convictions for the sake to make Aoko innocent, essentially. Not stopping him would be no different than watching him die. And she would lose something important inside her. Aoko did not want that to happen.
青崎、やっぱりその自分の受けた傷は自分で返さないと気が済まない性格か？
Aoko ignored Sojiro, who seemed to have gotten the wrong idea. Instead, she directed her scowl at Toko, who lay collapsed in front of her.
わかったわよ。トウコ、 今回は見逃してあげる。けどただで帰れるとは思ってないわよね。
Toko scowled at her little sister, standing smugly over her. Yeah, look at that. She's like, yeah, bitch, I've won. You can't do shit to me now.
祖父のところに突き出すのならここで引導を渡してくれ。
まさか私もあの人には会いたくないもの。あなたにはこのまま出て行ってもらうわ。邪魔もしないし教会に届けも出さない。いつかは私が言い含めておくから、今回の件は私たちだけの秘密よ。
Toko's brow creased further. There had to be a catch.
青子、何を企んでいる。
別にその代わりに呪いをプレゼントしようと思って。今まで散々ガンド食らってきたし、おあいこでしょ。
She's so happy. I can think of ways to punish her now. Oh, I'm having so much fun.
まあ私のはちょっと強力だけど、今後この土地に入ろうものならマダガスカルガエルになってもらうわ。
Why? Smiling as if they had just arranged to eat Chinese food tomorrow night, Alko walked towards Toko.
はて、なんでそういうものだけ習得してるんだお前は。
そりゃ師匠がアリスだもの。偏るのは当然でしょ。
The elder Aozaki's sister's brow knitted so hard that it could have produced a sweater. Perhaps this is why her sister would stay a novice forever.
宗十郎、席外して。覗き見が趣味なら別に見ていってもいいけど。
As she spoke, she began removing her sister's overcoat. The uncomfortable look in Toko's eyes compared to the strangely cheerful one on Aoko's caused Sojiro to hesitate. Was it really okay to leave the two of them alone? Eventually, he nodded. This was just a weird game between sisters.
覗き見は確かにいい趣味じゃないな。
Yeah, I'll just not be a pervert. Bye-bye. Muttering more to himself than anything, he ducked into an empty classroom.
なんだそのブサイクで悪趣味な術式は。センスがないにも程がある。お前本当に私の妹か。
Yeah, this really took away all the tension that just happened earlier this episode.
ええ、この通り芸術的才能は全部姉貴に持っていかれた哀れな妹でして、嘆くなら自分の天才性を嘆きなさい。どうか。
Toko? Down the cold, dilapidated hallway, cries of sadness, joy, and anguish rang out. Oh, it's the field of blue flowers. Outside, the fully bloomed white flower petals floated one by one into the night. Standing among the ballet of petals, Alice gazed up at the sky. The blossoms gathered into a cloud, then slowly vanished, as though falling asleep. Soon, not a single flower would remain, and the clearing would return to a snowy tundra. The magic had ended. In a matter of minutes, the past would return to its rightful place. Along with it, the time shared between the boy and the girl. So I just want to get this straight. So this field of white flowers was influenced by Sojiro's memories. So does that mean he has seen this site before? But he just didn't remember because it was taken from him? Maybe? The old school building was still. Alice embraced the silence and patiently waited. After a while, Sojiro emerged from the building, and Alice released a puff of white breath. She finally started breathing. It was a small sigh of relief. It was over. It's finally over. Sojiro approached, carrying Aoko. Oh! Cradling her in his arms. Was she asleep? Her eyes were closed, and she seemed peaceful. Oh, she's back to brown hair, Aoko. I thought the red hair would be permanent. Her hair and limp body dangled like a silk drape. She looked just like Sleeping Beauty.
待っていてくれたんだ、アリス。
Oh, look at this. He said, holding Aoko with little effort. Alice nodded.
トウコさんはどうなったの？
いや、よくわからないけど、トウコさんは帰ったよ。青崎が言うには、 そう簡単に解除できない呪いをかけたから向こう10年は三崎市には入ってこれないって。その後瞳子さんが尻尾を巻くのを仁王立ちで見届けて見えなくなったらそのまま倒れたんだ。
Alice's response was brief, as if she was wondering if things were really so simple. She seemed more concerned about Toko than Aoko, which made Sojiro concerned about Alice and Aoko's relationship more than anything.
それはともかくとして青子はどうなっているんだろう。
He asked nonchalantly, as he looked at Aoko breathing deeply in her sleep.
矛盾と清純を合わせているのね。彼女の時間は今の時間とは異なってしまったから。
Sojiro nodded in understanding, very clearly still not comprehending a single word Alice had just said.
なんか拍子抜けしたよ。結局瞳子さんと青崎どっちが勝ったのかよくつかめない。
そうね。魔術師の争いには明確な点数はつけられないから。瞳子さんの大目的が青崎の魔法の解明なら、魔法を使わされた時点で青子の負けよ。
That's true.
その後のいざこざは凱旋する勝者を夜道で襲ったようなものだし。
Alice said, as she turned her sights to the forest. Even Sojiro could tell that that was Alice's way of saying, let's go home.
そうだね。青崎もアリスもこのままじゃ風邪をひく。ああ、それと青崎が瞳子さんに呪いをかけるとき何かしてたんだけど。
Sojiro trailed off, hoping Alice would tell him what it was, but a stony and somewhat affected gaze was her response.
見たの、しずきくん。
いや、青崎が出てけって。
そう。それで青子はどんな呪いをかけたの？
カエルがどうとか。
I wonder if it's just gonna be a bluff. Sojiro's explanation made Alice's expression darken. Aoko was still a long way from learning any sort of polymorph spells.
そう。
Her thoughts prevented her from finishing the sentence. In actuality, it was perfectly within Aoko's abilities considering where she was in the time of that moment. As Aoko had said, Toko would not be able to dispel the curse for 10 years. And the Aoko of this time had not the ability to use such a curse. But maybe it was the Aoko of the future, which meant that Toko did not have anyone to rebound the curse to. No matter how much she researched dispelling powerful curses, she could not do it with the Aoko of this timeline.
青子が瞳子さんにつけたのは切り傷ぐらいだから、しずきくんが心配するようなことはないわ。青子にしては随分と生ぬるい処置だけど。
After her slightly unsettling remark, Alice quietly began to walk. Sojiro followed her, Aoko in his arms. Together, they left the clearing and moved into the forest. As they did, Sojiro abruptly froze.
しずきくん。
He looked back towards the old school building's field with a strange expression. Is it Beowulf? Oh no. Was it homesickness that he felt? Oh, it has something to do with his past. Though this was only his second time seeing it, he had a nostalgic feeling, like he would never be back. He looked like a child saying goodbye to an old toy that was being thrown away. Seeing his expression, Alice felt a hint of sympathy and chided herself.
あの荒れ地がどうかした？
She asked him, watching the flower garden fade into the snowy field. Sojiro shook his head.
なんとなく知っている場所に似てる気がして。おかしいな。やってきた時はそんな気はしなかったのに。
He stood staring at the tundra for what seemed like an eternity, reluctant to leave. If she left him there, he would be gazing at it by morning, probably even longer. But there was no point in doing that. In the end, Alice was the only one who would remember the beautiful scenery he yearned for.
ここはその場所にそんなに似てる？
全然似てない。面影すら皆無だ。
なら、それは気の迷いよ。
Sojiro nodded at Alice's harsh conclusion. He smiled slightly, deciding it was pointless to want something that did not exist.
そうだね。多分幻を見ていたんだ。あれは一度幸福だった時の夢だった。
A dream where he was happy. Severing the ties that bound him, Sojiro turned his back away from the snowy clearing, away from the unfamiliar yet familiar place where he had known happiness.
さあ、早く帰ろう。青崎は重いし、体も疲れてる。
I'm just imagining Aoko just wakes up and slaps and is like, I'm not fat!
洋館に着いたらあったかいお茶を入れよう、アリス。
Sojiro spoke her name with a smile. Her heart skipped a beat. Since when did he start saying her name so casually like that? Somehow, she managed to nod before beginning to walk again. As he moved away from her, she asked a small question to his back.
重いって私
Aoko was a bit taller than Alice, so naturally she would weigh more, but Alice wanted to hear him say it anyways. Not one to disappoint, Sojiro answered without missing a beat.
ああ、数値的に言うのなら、アリスより10キロ増しぐらい。
そう青子が聞いてたら大変ね
Oh man, that's pretty funny. Judging by Alice's tone, she was probably going to tell Aoko later.
血が悪いな、アリスも。
Oh my god, he's dead.
それに、さっきのは本人の名誉のために死者誤入してたんだぞ、一応。
She's gonna tell her that too. His attempts at being kind had lightly drawn him closer to his deathbed.
ダメかな。
Oh, she's blushing. You can see a slight shade. He asked nervously. Alice could not help but crack a smile at his innocence. However, she was not used to smiling in front of others, so she turned away and walked into the woods. From Sojiro's perspective, she was storming off in a mood.
なんだ。友達の悪口で怒るなんて、やっぱり仲はいいんじゃないか。
What good friends you have. Sojiro rushed to catch up with Alice, gently carrying Aoko along the way. Though the prince lacked the courage to kiss the sleeping princess, he at least saved her and was bringing her back to her castle. Despite what he had been through, he did not look like your typical hero. Still, in the story at least, he most certainly was. That's probably the end of the chapter. A Tale of the Star. I don't think there's going to be any new archives. I didn't see anything pop up. Ah, so... Huh, yeah, there's a lot of space here. There's definitely going to be some more stuff.